Hey, if you've seen any of my videos before, the first thing you're going to notice is that we are not in a library right now. We're actually in my car, and I'm parked outside the old marina where the old library used to be. And the reason we're not in a library and we are in fact in my car is because today's topic is stargazing, and it's really hard to do that inside. Did you get the chance to see the awesome SpaceX launching of the Dragon 2 rocket sometime in May? They live streamed it on YouTube and on Twitch. It was amazing to watch. I got to catch it, and it was SpaceX sending a rocket into space with 2 astronauts, and they made their way up to the International Space Station, dropped them off nice and safe, and then the rocket returned back to Earth. And it's just a reminder that humankind has been obsessed with the stars for as long as we can remember. And now more than ever, people have the opportunity to one day, maybe, take a trip to outer space. Now, if you're watching my videos, you're definitely too young to be strapped to a rocket to go and see the stars yourself. But that does not mean that you can't go outside like I am right now and enjoy the weather for a little while and look up at the night sky and see what you can see. There's plenty to be seen, and that's what this video is about. Having your own adventures here on planet Earth, looking up at the stars. So without further ado, let's get started. Sometime in 2006 or 7, I promised myself that I would never, ever buy a selfie stick. Just look at me now. As we come closer to winter, the nights get longer and colder. But if you bundle up, there's still a ton of fun to be had if you look up. When you look at the night sky, you obviously see a bunch of twinkles and lights. But did you know that not all night lights in the sky are the same? In fact, there's a world of difference. Several worlds, actually. When you look up at the night sky, what do you see? Beyond the trees and the airplanes, chances are you see stars. Or do you? If you're watching this video, you live in a city. And inside of cities, there's something called light pollution. And this light pollution isn't bad for the environment. It's not harming the ozone layer, but what it is doing is keeping you from seeing everything that the night sky has to offer. You can think of it like being outside for a long time and then walking into a dark place. Chances are you won't be able to see anything because it's way too dark and your eyes haven't adjusted. But if you sit there for a few minutes and let your eyes adjust, you're able to see a lot more than before. Well, when you live in a city where we have street lights and stoplights and cell phone flashlights everywhere, it becomes hard for our eyes to adjust to the natural twinkle of the stars above. So if you want to go and check out some really cool spots for stargazing, try to pick yourself a spot that's dark and isolated. Also, make sure you take somebody with you because it's dangerous to go out at night by yourself. The things we see in the sky boil down to 3 main groups: stars, planets, and satellites. Stars are huge balls of boiling hot gas, usually hydrogen or helium, floating out in space. The sun is also a star. Great book, by the way. But we're so close to it that when it's around, it blocks our view of all other stars in the sky. But all stars don't simply look like our sun. There are all varieties of stars. Other stars vary in size, brightness, and even age. Did you know that stars have life cycles? Our sun is 4.6 billion years old. That's like older than your great. But even as old as it is, scientists suspect that it's only middle-aged. It's probably got another 5 billion years or so before anything drastic changes, which is useful for us since we likely won't be around. One of the key aspects of stars is their variability. Since they're made of gases that are constantly shifting and changing, the light and color that they give off often changes as well. This is what gives stars their twinkle twinkle in the sky. If you look up and see an object in the sky with a pointed rim and a flickering quality, chances are you're looking at a star. Have you ever looked up at the sky and seen a planet? You probably have, but if you haven't, all you have to do is look down. The Earth is a planet, one that's just beneath our feet. It's full of mountains and lakes and deserts and icy tundras, so many that you'd have to hurry just to see it all in your lifetime. But we're not alone. There are 8 other planets in our solar system, or 9 if you were counting before 2006. All of them have their features too: mountains, volcanoes, glaciers, and even moons. But as far as stargazing, we only ever have to worry about the planets in our solar system. Other planets are too far away. They also don't give off their own light, meaning they're invisible unless certain very specific circumstances are met. As far as our 8 planets though, each of them are visible at different times and are visible thanks to the light of the sun. For example, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn should all be available during October evenings, so be sure to check them out. Great. Finally, there are satellites, of which there are 2 kinds. Artificial satellites are probably what you think of when you think of satellites. They are big metal machines with antennas and lights responsible for sending and receiving signals from Earth while orbiting the planet, high up in the sky. Artificial satellites also provide us with other cool tech services. Your GPS uses satellites to help tell you where you're going. Some televisions use satellites to send TV signals across the world. You might even have a sort of satellite in your home to pick up local channels. It's rare that artificial satellites are visible with the naked eye, however. They aren't nearly big enough. The only one that would actually be visible would be the International Space Station. It's the space station that I mentioned at the start of the video where astronauts go to hang out and learn about what it's like to live in space. The second sort of satellites are natural satellites, and we see these much more often. The moon, for example, is a natural satellite, an object made of rock, ice, or gas that rotates around a planet. Satellites aren't always easy to see, however. There are times when the moon is just a sliver in the sky, and other nights where it isn't there at all. This is because satellites have to borrow light from the sun, like planets, for us to be able to see them at night. It's the angle of the moon and the light it reflects that are responsible for the phases of the moon. Certain moons from other planets can be seen with binoculars or telescopes. They are occasionally visible in the night sky depending on how reflective they are, their size, and their proximity to Earth. At the moment, the only real satellite of note is the moon, so during our scavenger hunt, that's what we'll look for. Speaking of which, let's jump right into the scavenger hunt. So let the hunt begin. What will you need to go stargazing? You'll need it to be dark, and you'll need your 2 eyes. Unfortunately, filming conditions are best when the sun is out, but stargazing is not. So you'll have to imagine that it's dark out here without me. Here's some tips for stargazing. The first is that it's all about fun. When you go out in the middle of the night and look up at the stars, your job is to have as good a time as possible, whether that is to try to learn and memorize the constellations or just to see a meteor shower at night. Your job is to find as many cool things as you can so you can share them with the people you're stargazing with. Also, if you're needing any help or resources with the scavenger hunt, I have this really cool website online that you can go to. You can print off a star map that is unique to the day and even the hour of when you plan on going out to do stargazing. So if you can't make it tonight, when all of our different scavenger hunt things are actually visible in the sky, feel free to go to that website and print you off a sheet of paper, maybe at the library, so that you can see exactly what you're looking for in the night sky. Also think about downloading some apps for your phone. I use Skywalk, which was free for me to download. It is really awesome. It works with the GPS and camera in your phone to help you see exactly where the constellations and planets are for the night. So at the start of our scavenger hunt, there are 3 things that we're usually looking for in the night sky. The first are constellations, the second are stars, and the third is the moon. The moon's not going to be too hard to find. It's out here, but fun fact, the moon this month is a blue moon, which doesn't mean that the color is different. It just means that there's a second full moon in a month, and this month is October. Our blue moon happens to fall on October 31st, which is Halloween. So see if you can find the October moon at the end of the month. It's pretty rare. Next are constellations. Try to look up in the night sky and find both of these constellations if you can. The first is Cassiopeia. It's really distinctive in the night sky, facing the northern direction, about midway in the sky. It's shaped like a W and named after a vain queen from Greek mythology. Next is Ursa Minor, which is better known as the Little Dipper or the Little Bear. This constellation is classic among most stargazers, and it's made up of 7 stars, though the most popular is Polaris. It's called the North Star. As the name suggests, you can find it in the northern sky, but make sure there's not too many buildings or trees because it's going to be pretty far down in the northern skies. If you're having trouble finding it, find Cassiopeia and then look to where the W shape is opening up towards. That's usually pointing you directly toward Polaris. Throughout the month of March, Mars has been a big, beautiful orange star in the sky. Planets tend to follow the track of the moon, going from east to west, and if you're lucky, around this time of year, you've been able to see a bright orangey star-looking thing close to the moon. And this is because Mars is actually really close to Earth right now. It's shining a lot brighter than it normally would because we're a lot closer. Pay very close attention to the rounded, orangey, I've said it 1,000 times, an orangey dot starting in the east that sets in the west, and that's probably Mars. Next are Jupiter and Saturn, which I kind of grouped together because they kind of stick close together in the night sky. Be sure to check them out earlier though, because they set in the west a lot earlier than other stars and planets. Again, planets kind of follow the track of the moon, going from east to west, and in this case, you're looking for Jupiter to be the brighter of the two because of its size. And that is everything. Thank you guys for watching the video. I hope you guys get out with some nice masks and with your best friends, and you go out and look at the stars at some point tonight. If you're looking for more information, again, check out the library website. We got all kinds of books about stargazing and astronomy and what tools to use to look up at the night sky. We also have telescopes that we check out from the library, so be sure to put one of those on hold. I've got about an hour or two until the sunset. You guys are definitely going to see some of my cool pictures that I take of the night sky, either here or maybe at my house, and I hope you guys really enjoy those and take some cool pictures of your own. Share them with us on Facebook. We'd love to see what kind of pictures you capture of the night sky. Of course, stay safe, wash your hands, don't forget to look up, and we'll see you next video. Great. Whew.